Are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Oh, we can take these out.
That makes sense.
Welcome, Laurent, to the podcast.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I am very fine.
Yeah,
very good.
Same. We have Laurent on the podcast with us today. And Laurent, if you want to introduce yourself, like, who are you? What are you? Should we go by titles?
No.
Exactly.
We shouldn't.
Elaborate on that.
Titles.
Right?
Yeah, we really associate like who we are with what we do instead of who we are with what we're living through or what we're aspiring to be or, being, right? We're human beings, not human doing, right?
Or like human titles.
Yeah. We try and like box things up and then try and control life.
Yes.
But really, we don't really have as much control as I think that
we'd like to think that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So like when you meet someone, do you feel like you need to size them up right away? Because even introducing this podcast, I'm like, okay, I have to let our listeners know, like, okay, who is Laurent? But why do we have to do that? Why can't it just be like, what's up, guys? I'm with Laurent, this being who calls himself Laurent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah. Well, we can introduce the topics that we're going to talk about.
Sure, that makes sense.
Let's talk about the first topic is going to be creative arts. So we're both, as we will call ourselves, actors. But it's interesting because Laurent is a theatrical actor, a theater actor, and I am a film and TV actor. And the second topic is identity and ego. And the third topic is connectedness, connected to ourselves, connected to others, connected to nature. So let's start with the first one, entertainment and the arts. Why have you decided to like create a life in the arts?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I know for me, like it's just because it's the only time I feel like I'm living.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think art teaches us how to live in a very deep way. And I do try and apply what I learn in art to my life so that my life becomes art.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So I think that more people should be doing artists. And there's a difference, I think, between professional artists and human beings who just all need art in their life, I think.
Okay.
Because art is not necessary for survival. It's not like, okay, we're in the woods, we have no clean water.
In that sense.
Like we're not gonna go, oh, okay, what's a play we could go see right now?
What about soul survival?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what art is. Art teaches people how to live. Right? It allows us to access what our survival instincts can't really tap into always. I think it allows us to go beyond the thinking mind into like a deeper mind. So some people call that the soul or the heart or your spirit or your chakra or whatever.
That's what you call it? What do you?
I don't like to give it titles either. So. I think it's up to each and every person to experience what the universe has, and it's up to them to decide what they want to call it. But also, even calling it something is I think it's like
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's bigger than us. It can make
sense. Exactly. It can make sense without labels.
Yeah.
You said that you used art as a form of like really living as an artist. How what happened?
So like most actors, I went to theater school at Dawson, and in my first year at Dawson I went into a deep depression, and it was a very difficult place for me to be at the time. I felt very alone. A lot of people in my life were leaving from it, like either through being broken up with or friends that I lost, and people, family members dying, and a lot of different things that were happening at the time that were tough. And I felt very alone, and it was art that really, being at theater school and having an amazing teacher, Fred Ward, who I was talking to you about before, who is this text teacher, this acting teacher at Dawson, who really took me under his wing and showed me that there's more to life than just the pain. There's more to life than just what society tells us, and that art is the greatest gift that someone can receive. And it's also for professional artists, I think it's the greatest responsibility. And that's why I believe that the content that we do, or whatever you want to call it, the plays we do, or the movies we make, or the paintings we paint, they make a huge difference in people's lives. And so it can't be, you need to work on your craft so that it ends up being something that can really affect people.
Can save a life.
As
drastic as that sounds, like it can.
Yes. And art saved my life. Writing, actually, in a big way. Writing. I started writing in my first year.
Writing plays or writing anything? Journal entries?
Mostly poetry. And then that turned into my first plays. And then that turned into screenplays, stories, whole bunch of different stuff. But mostly poetry and plays. And after Dawson, I went into Concordia, and that's where I fell in love with writing, and because I went to a playwriting program. So I think that theater is kind of an art form that encapsulates all the arts, because you can find dance in it, you can find
stage production, costume design,
exactly. So there's material that's being used. The human experience is there too, and it's in a live setting, which I think is rare that people are experiencing something live these days, especially because, even this is not
live for us.
It's live for us, but it's not live.
And them. Even if it were being projected live, you can't sense the room, you can't feel the emotion and hear the vibe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's incredible. And for you, what do you want to immerse yourself in? Is it the playwriting? Is it everything theater? Do you have like an idea of the perfect job? Or is it just everyday touching little things of theater that you're happy with?
I think it's touching things of stories too. It's telling stories, right? So whatever that means, I want to live my life not based on my job, but based on the life that I'm living. So the relationships I have are so important. The impact I have on my community, on my society, on that one person in the audience, or that one person who sees a film I was in, or I've recently done Standup, the one person who really likes that joke and likes it so much that it strikes something inside them, that's something that's true, like I think that makes a huge difference in their life.
And in yours.
And in mine. Yeah, that connection that we have. We complete something in each other.
Yeah, and if you're on stage and you make a joke, let's say, and there's pin drops, nobody laughs except for that one person. How do you feel inside?
Good. I feel good even if no one laughs.
Oh, yeah? Because it's funny in your heart.
It's funny in my heart. I think that for me, I've been doing stand-up for just recently a few months, and I love it because it's terrifying. Like everyone who's never tried it knows. Like everyone who's done it knows. It's an art form that's sadly under respected and underappreciated, but because it's so important.
It's so hard, and I think it's so saturated.
Yes.
Like there's so many people and unfunny people doing it
because they don't know it's craft.
Exactly. They think that anyone can just like walk up there, tell a couple jokes, maybe put on a couple accents, and then they're good to go. But it's just not the truth. Like you need to be an actor. You need to understand this is an art form.
Yeah.
And I think that's why stand-up is under-respected.
Yeah.
Because it's taken as a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the joke of it.
Yeah, but to me the key word in stand-up comedy is stand-up. And it was actually a comedian here in Montreal. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but it was...
Not Sugar Sammy?
No, it was a guy who goes to a lot of open mics, and he's like an underdog. He's super good. And he does this joke about the qualities of pasta, spaghettini being the absolute worst pasta.
Okay.
And then he said he put them all on a chart based on like what the quality of them and all that, and he was so obsessed with it, and I was laughing, but I think I was like the only one who's really laughing because he was so passionate about this. But then he said this one thing where he was like, stand-up is about standing up for something. It could be as trivial as like talking about the quality of pasta. And then for me, like I read into it and found a deeper meaning for me that so like true. When I stand up and I go and take the mic and I say something, I'm trying to say, what's my take on it? You know, what's my take on life? What are the things I see and to me, I'm realizing too, and I hear this from all the comedians too who do succeed. It's have a perspective about something, you know, find what makes how do you see the world and share that with the world. Don't try and be inauthentic. Don't try and be special and try and, you know, do what others want of you or what you think they want
of you.
Give them yourself, and that will be enough. Yeah, that's strong enough.
Then that creates a lot of controversy though if the person doing stand-up comedy is going against the grain and has really controversial opinions.
Yeah, of course.
What happens then? Should they still be as respected if what they think is really not okay?
Yeah. Well, that's tough too, because like, what is okay?
What is okay? Well, like, I mean, like things that are just not okay. Like being racist is not okay. Yes. Being ageist, sexist.
Yes, I agree.
Homophobic, like.
I think it's tough because art is like therapy to some people. So I think the people that have those kinds of, you know, opinions and stuff like that, you're not born racist. You're not born ageist. You're not born sexist. It's patterns and behaviors that we learn from like society.
Yes.
And from our surrounding and stuff like that. And so it's hard. I really try not to judge people, and especially like in my profession you can't. So I like when I catch myself judging someone, I really go, oh, wow, that's my thinking brain trying to box them in.
Yeah.
But really, like the people who are violent or with their words or their actions.
Yes.
It's violence that they're self-inflicting, you know, like.
But it could be hurting other people.
It does. Yeah. It does. And I'm not saying that it's okay that what they do. What I'm saying is that if they're willing to hurt someone else like that, they're hurting themselves just as much or worse. So I think it's important to have empathy for those people.
I think my question is more for like the people in the audience who don't have that outlook, because you have a very wise outlook right now of empathy and understanding, and it comes from having wisdom, from going through things and understanding that, you know, these people exist. It's for the people who don't have that filter, who are sitting in the audience being like, oh my God, why is this person literally attacking me?
Yeah.
Like sitting here with a different skin color, or sitting here as a gay person, whatever, being like, this person needs to get off the stage now. Like, where is that fine line between like allowing these people to like speak their mind, live their truth, their authenticity? Yeah. It's weird.
I think what's being done here in Montreal, I don't know about other cities and stuff like that, but a lot of the shows that I've been going to and the good ones, the really good ones that people keep coming out and going to see is in stand-up. This is different from theater, but is that the organizers are making an effort to make sure that the comedians know that it's an inclusive space, that stand-up comedy is about making people like forget the problems of the world and laugh about life and enjoy and leave not heavy or disturbed or offended.
Yes, but then there's another thing, censorship. How much do you want to censor? And everyone is so offended these days.
Yes.
So then it's like a balancing act. How much can we really say?
The thing is, they're not going to kick out the comedian that, like, you know, makes a joke about people who wear green shirts, you know? Like I'm sorry to the people with green shirts who feel offended when they talk about people with green shirts, you know? It's like, there's only a limit as to which it's not censorship when it comes into systemic racism or something like that, or insulting a culture or an identity that people have no choice over, or that I recently learned from an improviser this concept that comedy, it's okay to punch up, but it's not okay to punch down.
Oh, I like that.
It's a really good concept.
That's cool.
Because you can laugh about Donald Trump because he's at the top.
Yeah.
Make jokes about him, you can do that because he's at the top. If you make a joke about him, you know, like, oh, Donald Trump and his fake hair, that's fine, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, he's going to be still the president of the United States, you know, for forever, how long or whatever.
Hope not forever,
but for the time being. But like, if you do a joke about someone who comes from lower class or from a different race than yours, or from a different culture, then that's punching down, because it's, you know, it's the pyramid of power is different, you know.
Yeah, well, especially us with privilege.
Yeah, that's it. No,
white humans.
Yeah, white humans. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. In the society that we live in, there exists that privilege, and I'm fully aware of that, and that's also one of the big reasons why it's important to create something that's meaningful with the stories that we tell, you know, and why it's important to make connections in the job that we have.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
It's about being inclusive of all peoples, so that we realize we're all part of this, like, this circle of people.
Yeah, and people want to know that you're an okay person.
Yes.
Like, if they're taking you on their project, which is normally just like spawned from your idea, it's your baby, you want to make sure that people that you know will respect that project and not like try to steal the ideas or just reflect it in a negative light. Yeah.
Or even that you think about the audiences too.
Yeah.
Like for plays, like accessibility is a big thing.
Yes.
I recently, a year or two ago, I taught for 2 years, I taught improv to the blind.
Oh, wow.
And that blew my mind and like opened my eyes, pun intended.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because I realized so much of theater and improv is so visually dependent. You know, we just go like, I opened a door, you know, but like you don't say I opened a door, but like now our listeners know I'm doing the action of opening a door. But
now
like,
I'm walking 3 steps.
Yeah,
you say it. Like,
yeah, so
I'm walking over to the counter.
Rethink about how do you make theater accessible to people who have different abilities.
Wow.
You know, so like, and I've had the chance to work with like a lot of different people from different communities and different abilities, and I think it's really important as an artist to experience that and to look at who is surrounding you, who's creating the art. How can you make it a more inclusive space? How can you make these stories about a deeper humanity than beyond what's already being projected by mass media? Okay. You know? And then if you do end up in mass media, how do you change what's going on in the bigger productions and stuff like that?
Do you think that there needs changing?
I think the change is happening.
What kind of change? From what to what?
I think, well, obviously, you know, most of, you know...
because I feel like the mass media messages. Like every Disney movie is so beautiful to me. The messages that they push.
Yeah.
So what needs changing? I feel like everything that needs to be said, the morals, the ethics of what they're trying to say, it's there.
I agree. And I think that in a big way, the greatest storytellers have always been telling the same story.
Yeah.
And if anything, every story is the same story.
Yeah.
In a very ethereal kind of,
I see that.
encapsulating way.
Yeah.
When we tell a good story, it resonates with us. We don't know why it does, but it does. And often, even for Disney, it's all it follows this structure, this kind of hidden, structure, this hidden sort of wavelength.
Yeah, the plot scheme
that we feel.
Yeah, I agree.
And that we follow. And so, yes, it doesn't matter at the end of the day who the characters are or where it is or what it's about. But it matters why is it pulling us in and what does it do to us? What does it do to an audience? But in our day and age, it does matter because representation is very important and accessibility is very important because there's a lot of people who've been forgotten on the margins of society, and the experiences of someone who's blind or someone who has difficult mobility issues, in Montreal, the city of the worst winters, your life is a little more difficult. And so, you can't expect someone to walk up 30 steps if they can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't expect, the deaf community to come and see your show if there's not an ASL night, or if there's not ASL every night,
Wow.
An ASL interpreter, which slowly but surely now. American Sign Language, yeah.
Are you doing that in your theater community? Do you guys have this accessibility?
I think
it's coming.
Montreal, they really are pushing for it, and it's on all fronts too. It's really from who's working on it to who's coming to see the show, and how can we make theater more touch people, because I think in this time of a lot of fear and a lot of doubt, because of all this information we're being blasted into our brains every day because of social media, that's the world's ending, that's why it keeps broadcasting, right? The world is ending.
Do you think?
Life is over. You need to be successful now.
That I agree with. But the world is ending. Well, you mean global warming and stuff like that?
But yeah.
Polarized caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but there's... and it goes in phases, right? Because there's people, oh my God, North Korea. Then they were like, oh no, it's gone.
It's fine.
Oh, but then something else hit.
Yeah.
There's always the threat. But the thing is, people are so attached to this life experience that they're like, I have to reach 95 years old and have the kids, the grandchildren, white picket fence, the beautiful career that everyone will go, wow, wasn't they? They want to be remembered, right?
They want the people to look at them they're successful. Exactly. They don't even care about the success.
They don't want.
They just want the visual of being successful.
And also, it's good that you notice that. It's
of course.
Other people noticing you, but
But
rarely
the internal
exactly.
happiness, of course.
Yeah, the look inside.
Yeah.
That you do yourself.
Yeah. That's huge. But what's funny about that is because I care about film and TV so much because it lives forever. Why? Because I want other people to see me 1,000 years down the line. So going on that, doing film and TV, doing these podcasts, being part of a screen makes me internally happy because I know that I'm creating a legacy. So I think of you and I think of your theater experience and I'm like, how could he give so much of himself, pour out his emotions on a stage in front of people? Yes, these 20 people or even 200 or even 1,000 people, amazing. They got to experience you, but what the hell? What's next? I feel like I'd be if there's not a camera filming me and what I'm going through, it's not worth it. Why do I feel like that?
No, I understand completely. I think it's both mediums have their powers, and for sure films, like the fact that it can stay around
forever.
For so long.
It's immortal.
But
as of
nothing
today.
Is immortal.
But you don't know.
Nothing is immortal, though.
I feel like the internet is this cloud that's
Nothing
just going to live forever.
Yeah, no, you're right. And
I don't want to be right. I just feel like it is that right now.
Right, no, yeah, you might be right, you might be wrong, but yeah. I think film has that power, but the reason why I can push myself to do theater and give it all for like weeks of rehearsal to just do one night for one person and make a difference in their life, it's because it's like life. You know, life is, there's a beginning and an end, and it's like, that's it. And you only have one chance, and it's gonna be what it is. You're gonna forget lines, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna laugh when you were supposed to cry, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a cell phone, there's gonna be something.
I think you just said something that hit me right now, and that's like, I'm forgetting about the one person behind the screen. I'm forgetting that there are real life people being affected by this, and you are just seeing it.
Yes.
Giving that performance and touching one person.
Yeah.
Like that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. It's just that I'm like blinded by the screen factor.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough because in theater you really do have the meeting with your viewer.
Exactly. After the show, there's normally
very, I think, almost part of the ritual of theater, which is the meeting of the audience.
Yes, that's the best part.
But I do love what social media is doing, because it does put you in a certain sense in contact with your viewers in a huge new way, which is like, amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't yet bridge that gap that, in theater where you're living that piece together. The audience is breathing with you at the same time, crying, feeling all this stuff with you at the same time.
And then getting the instant feedback after the show, which is called a what? It's called something. It's not a vernissage, obviously. It's called something. The after show.
Like a talk back? Yeah,
No, it's called something. I'll look it up later. But the instant feedback and like literally looking into their eyes, being like, you changed my thoughts when you said this line, or when you broke down crying, I cried with you and it was really amazing. Thank you so much. That must be so worth it in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what is a big part of the actor's job, is to do that so that we can affect someone on that level. Yeah. For sure.
What is it that you get from theater then?
To go back to the point I made a while back, it's like practice for life.
Practice for life, for real life.
It allows me to open up my empathy. It allows me to make decisions and choices and think about objectives and think about, what am I doing here? What do I want? Yeah. Who am I? Motive. Am I helping someone? Am I hindering them? And I'm really allowed to enter a story in a very visceral way more than once, and not worrying about angles or for film and TV, if you're lucky, you have time to develop characters and you have time to be in it. Yeah. But sometimes I find you're really rushed for time, so you have to hit your mark, say your lines. While for theater, you do really get to delve into the meaning of what you're doing, why you're doing this, who you are, and then you get to live it with someone, and you get to live it more than once, hopefully,
over and over again. But does that get long?
No,
because it's different every time.
It's new every night. Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And working together. I agree with you that
so collaborative.
It's really about the empathy and understanding what you want from your partner and what do they want from you. Yeah. I love that. Let's get into our second topic, which is identity and ego. Mm-hmm. How do you find you look at humans?
I don't know. I think everyone looks at humans differently,
of course,
depending on the human. But I think I try and keep my eyes open so that I can really see the light that's within each person. That's important. And I think that relating back to acting and theater is like, I'm able to practice that openness of seeing the person for who they are and not projecting onto them what they could be, you know, like,
or what you want them to be.
Exactly. Like, this person is this for me. Or, you know, like if you see someone who's homeless, you immediately have all this baggage of like society going, they're dangerous, they might be on drugs, they might have mental illness, but you might even money, like maybe that taxes. Person is not even homeless too. So that's what I try and do, is I catch myself when I see and make judgments. So I really try and look at each person without judgment.
Yeah. But you're looking at your own thoughts, which is a higher level of thinking.
You have to.
I think a lot of people don't know how to do that.
That's freedom. That's freedom.
It's not just freedom, but it's self-awareness.
Yes.
And why do you think that people are self-aware in society today?
I don't know. I think we all are in a certain way. There's just different levels. I think a lot of people are I think a lot of people are actually very self-aware, especially in a generation that's the selfie generation of
picking
people.
Yourself apart too.
Yeah, so they're very aware judging. Of the self.
You mean right? the outer self?
The outer self.
The outer self.
Yeah, for sure.
I
and
think
they're hearing these voices and they're like, oh, they're talking to themselves, but they don't realize, you know, that they're in control. You know, they feel like, oh, life is like this, and you know, like everything sucks. You know, I can't control it. You know.
Yeah. And
they don't realize that they're the one inside saying, I can't control it, and then therefore life is like, okay, I'm gonna shove a bunch of stuff on you that you can't handle. You know.
And then you're forced to handle it.
Yes.
And you're forced to learn the hard way. But then people do wake up and realize, oh my God, I am the master of my own life.
Yes. And that is when the work begins, I think, for someone to really experience life. Is that once you're aware, it's kind of like the person who the story of the guy who comes out of the cave, you know, Plato or something like that.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Goes outside the cave, sees the light, and sees that, you know, all these people, like he's been chained and looking at this wall full of shadows, and everyone thinks that that's the truth, that's life
is, yeah.
And he went and saw that there's light out there, and that's where it is. And he goes back and he tries to convince them, and that's his job at that point.
Yeah.
Because of peer pressure, he could easily put back his shackles on and then stare at it and pretend because that person will know that there is, you know, there's truth somewhere else, or that there's at least a deeper awareness, not necessarily truth, because, you know, truth is so subjective too, and it's you know, everyone has their own experience of what this is, you know. So I think that it's our job, once we become aware, to share that awareness and to act with awareness.
To share that awareness, but to not project like, oh, you should be more self-aware.
No, because then you've lost it already. You've lost the awareness that, you know, it's up to them.
But I'm guilty of this 100%. You know, I feel like I have dug so deep into myself and into like people's minds and into like life and trying to understand. This is the whole point, is like trying to understand. But it's hard when there's nothing to understand. But when you feel like you've found like an inkling of understanding, then you want to give that inkling to someone else, and you're like, here, look at what I understand too.
Yeah.
And then it's like, shit, but now I'm like fucked. Because you're like, no, I'm not trying to make you understand. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. I don't know if
the podcast listeners understand. But once you become self-aware, you want that for others.
Yes.
But then it defeats the whole purpose of just letting people be and letting them go on their own journey and finding it themselves.
I think it's about, and I was lucky, like I mentioned before, Fred Ward really helped me find that awareness.
How did he help you without pushing it on you?
He didn't push me.
So
you can. I think you can leave clues. You can hint at
guide
things. You know, people. that's a tough thing too. There's a lot of people who become really enlightened, and then people just label them as crazy, or as like, you don't understand, or that's a crazy or illogical way of thinking.
Do you have an example?
Like Jim Carrey. Like, everyone thinks he's crazy now.
I think he is woke. I think he's woke. He's woke, dude.
Yes.
Wow. He said something that someone actually said on a podcast. I think it was like Soup Dev. Anyways, Jim Carrey said that happiness comes when you realize that you've taken off. No, you're unhappy when you're wearing a mask, because you feel like you're wearing a mask. So take off the mask and you'll find happiness. Something along those lines. I might be butchering the quote, but he is woke.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But I see what you mean.
But like, the immediate reaction that Hollywood entertainment tried to project onto him when he was like in an interview once was that he had
lost his bananas.
Exactly. Yeah. Lost all bananas. So like, as most people who feel like they're self-aware and feel like they're woke, they can recognize that he's awoken to a deeper sense of things. But the thing is, if you give everyone the answers, they're not going to go and actually find it. They're not actually going to experience something that's a revelation, life-altering. Yeah, I think that the greatest teachers realize that it's up. You should just point or give clues, and then once the student finds it on their own, and goes, oh my God, I'm smart. Oh my God, I'm aware. Oh my God, I'm awoken. Then that's your job. Your job isn't to push them. Your job is just to point and say, it's somewhere that way. And then leave it up to them. Okay. And that's the thing that's the toughest, because you want
to give the answers.
And once you're aware, all you want to do is like save the world and spread it, and just do that. And like it seems obvious to you. Yes. But before you were felt that way, before you were self-aware, it didn't seem that obvious, right? And so you have to remember and have empathy again everyone who's like in layers of non-awareness, that you just have to be patient.
What did Fred give you, your teacher? How did he point you in the direction, and what happened to you? Do you remember the moment that like it changed for you, where you were like, wow, I actually can say that I'm finally happy. I'm actually not depressed anymore. What happened?
I think that a lot of people want the instant solution, but I think it's a patient thing. Okay. It was a slow thing where it took a lot of work to become in a state of, I would say, somewhat peace and relative happiness that I experience today. But mainly it was a slow and patient work. And it was time. It's being about patient and giving yourself the time to experience life and not rush to the finish line. There's no finish line.
And you felt that there was before?
Yes. Okay. I think so. I think like a lot of people who aren't self-aware think it's a race, right?
For what?
The rat race. The rat race. It's success. It's money. It's fame. It's it's making a difference, and like getting a lot of like money or followers or likes or tweets or it's all these like quantifiable
measures of success.
But once you can't quantify it and you can feel it, that's where I think
that's priceless.
Yeah, exactly. Life could end tomorrow and I'd be happy.
I don't know if I'd be happy.
Like now,
but I see what you mean.
But like,
so then are you scared of death?
I think it's important to have a healthy fear of it, but I think it's important to have also a very like a friendship with it in a sense too. It's like, oh God, death I think is the beginning of something else. It's the only thing in life that can be perfect. it's when the circle closes, right? So it's even, we experience deaths in many things. At the end of this podcast, it will be the death of this episode. But we don't mourn it.
But what gets me through it is that I'm like, he will be back.
Yes.
I trick myself.
Right,
I trick myself in a way. I'm not saying that you won't be back, but I say like, it's okay. He's not going to die.
No.
He's going to come back for a second episode. And that makes me feel good, because if I were to know that this would be the only last time that I would interview you, I would have an insane amount of anxiety. And I'd be like, I need to squeeze his mind for all the juices of what he knows so we can like give his mind to the world, because he won't be back, because this will be the death of him.
But why are you worried? Why are you anxious?
It makes me worried because you don't want things to die. You don't want it to be the end. I hate endings.
But endings also carry a lot of meaning, and I think it's tough. It's really tough, because I think there's a sort of, in some endings, we cry. We feel like if we watch a movie, it's over, and we wish it could go on forever. Or, but then all the same thing too, like with people, someone passes away, you're like, I needed them for longer. I wanted them longer. Yeah. But then there's other people too, where like they've battled, disease or cancer or whatever, and it for too long, and they suffer, and then they die, and then you're like, finally, too.
You're out of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's the same thing, I think, with our own lives. We have to treat it that way too, because...
But then that's like saying we're in pain.
No, pain is part of life too. Yeah. Pain is not something that we should avoid. Pain is something we should lean into when it happens. Experience the pain. Like,
I'm picturing cutting off my finger, cutting onions.
Don't
lean into it. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't have to.
Beautiful moment.
You don't have to make it every moment like that intense. If you want, you can go like, wow, this is what it feels like. But at some point, it would be good to cover it, unless you want to make, but. That could be like, we don't know. Like, maybe a monk cut himself. He's like, this is how I die. And he, like, lets go, and that's fine. But I
think our natural instincts would be like, okay, no,
exactly,
we need to, like,
because that's...
save ourselves.
But that's it. We are both, very animalistic in some senses. And then in some senses, we're aware. But the thing is, too, like, what is that?
It's the metaphysical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the untouchable.
Exactly.
The unseen, the unknown.
Exactly. And I think that there's something really exciting about that. And I think that death kind of releases whatever that's inside, the energy that's inside people, and it brings them back into that source.
Like reincarnation.
I don't know if it's reincarnation, because I think I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think also too, another thing I learned from Fred, the more you know, the less you know, which is actually a beautiful thing, because the less you know, the more you have to learn. And I think I'm a very curious person. I think it's important to develop curiosity, because the moment you learn something is like, it feels so good. It's like, it's enlightening. You feel lighter. You feel lighter. You feel better, and you feel like you're headed somewhere that's not the end. It's somewhere else. Somewhere new. So I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think about ego? Like, what is ego to you? How would you define that?
I didn't do enough psychology classes, so I don't really know the definition.
But in your head, what is it to you? Not a freaking Merriam-Webster definition.
It's...
To me, I would say that it's the thought. It's your brain. It's like the thought of. Yeah. So it's not you, but it's the thought of you. Yeah. Or it's not this water bottle, but it's the thought of the water bottle. Like, oh, I think this water bottle's cool. Just me saying that is ego, rather than just like drinking from the water bottle without even thinking about it. I think it's thought of.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. That it's like the thinking mind that's trying to sort of control a lot of the experience. So I think a lot of people are are not the drivers of their own lives. They're not like really in control of it, and it's, you know, it's the ego that's driving, and they're watching, but they don't know they're watching. It's like that weird episode of
Family Guy.
I'm gonna spoiler alert, but if you've seen Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, yes.
There's an episode where someone gets transferred inside the guy's mind, and she's watching him live the life, and she can't do anything. All she can do is just watch.
Whoa.
She's watching the whole life being lived, and it's not her own, but she's watching it.
That's
and that's how I feel like a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are watching themselves do stuff.
Wow.
And I think that ego is that force that the thinking mind has developed to survive. So the ego protects us.
In that situation of like the person's driving and the one is watching, the one that's watching is like the soul, the one that's like, can we just live?
Yeah.
And then the driver is like the ego. Like, where are we going today? What are we going to do?
And then the soul too, that's the thing that we'll never know the answer, I think, is the soul feels connected to everything, right? It feels connected to, you know, people, to animals, to nature, to anything. It feels connected to things, to everything. And so to me, that idea, the reason why I think we feel that connection to so much is because it's part of the energy that's in everything. And that's why I don't feel so sad when people, well, I feel sad and I mourn people as they pass and stuff like that. But there's a slight happiness to that, you know, that being released back into that is beautiful. Because I think that energy then comes and nourishes you. You know, it nourishes me, you know, in our art, in what we do. And lives
on through us.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For the last couple of minutes before I get into my final 2 questions for every podcastie, we wanted to touch on the last topic, which is connectedness. And I feel like we have, this has been the theme, being connected to ourselves and others. What makes you feel connected? Are there practices that you do to make you feel more grounded?
I do a lot of writing. So I write at least like an hour a day.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like on the computer or with handwriting?
Depends.
Because handwriting for an hour a day, that's like hard.
I have notebooks, like but sometimes when I don't have a notebook, I write in my phone. But I try and collect it all on my computer afterwards. So
really?
I do, and then I print the stuff that I write, and I work on different projects. I work on a lot of different projects, and I work in very different spheres of art, both as a teacher, as an actor, a writer, a director, a coach, a stand-up comedian. I love to paint.
Yeah, you're a painter now.
You know, I painted this To Be or Not to Be.
To Be or Not to Be, yeah.
And I think there's that nourishes me by doing so many different things. It's kind of like a tree. It's like,
ooh, it's dripping.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
it lives on. It moves without us even knowing. So one of the reasons why I do so many different things is because I think it really nourishes me, and it nourishes, like when I do work in acting, it helps my writing. When I write, it helps my acting. When I do stand-up, it helps me with my teaching. All the different things, they kind of nourish each other. And I think that they're all connected, and that the daily practice of writing really kind of allows me to put to paper what remains of it. What am I holding on to with my thinking mind? What am I experiencing too? You know, and it also becomes a record, kind of like this podcast is a record that can carry on and that can stay until the paper rots, or until, you know, the internet collapses all the documents go away, you know.
Don't say that.
It could.
That's my life's work. But it could happen. It could happen.
But I think too, the life's work you're doing is in this room too. And you were saying it before, like how no one will get to experience what we're experiencing today right now. And I think that that's beautiful, and that you should also see that as your work is so meaningful, because I feel very grateful that you brought me in here, and I got to meet you, and I got to talk really.
The feeling is mutual.
You know, so.
Because that's another form of connection.
Exactly.
It's like opening yourself up to these different experiences.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who feels very disconnected to society, to themselves?
Like if they're like depressed or something?
Just disconnected. A lot of people feel like they're on autopilot. A lot of people feel like, you know, they wake up, cool, gonna live my day.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that needs to be more connected and alive?
I would say just it's tough because it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But I think that when you're in that period of disconnection or depression, or it's like the body is in this, you're in a period where your mind is in like deep rest. It's like depressed. It's deep rest.
Whoa.
You know? It's like it's in this sort of state where it's sleeping, so it needs this time. And so maybe your experience of life is that, and that's also tough for people who are empathetic.
Yeah.
Is to watch people who their life is going to be asleep the whole time.
Exactly.
Or they're destroying their life or their body or other people, and you know, it's like
because they know no better.
Exactly.
Because they don't know how to get out of it.
And so there is no answer that we can provide to them, but we can allow them the comfort to know that, you know, that it's okay to experience a life that way, and that your life is as meaningful as someone else's, as someone who looks more successful than you. That once you become okay with your life, that you can start living with meaning. And even if it's too late, if you can at least say, okay, this is what it was, or this is what it is, that's fine. And I think that could actually be the first step towards it getting better. Because
that's true.
I think a lot of people try and get to the state where they're like high performing and, you know, like billionaires, and like they're known all over the world because that's what's been shown as success.
Yeah.
You know? But really, I think it's about being okay with where you are now, and then once you're okay with now, then just take one step at a time.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, and it doesn't even have to be towards Mount Everest. It can
be to the side.
It could be a step to the side, could be a step forward, could be a step back, could be a step
back
to the diagonal. It's whatever you want to do. Your experience is your own, and I think it's important to do what feels right to you. And that it's tough too, because then, you know, like, you know, it's like what feels right to me is
what
like,
feels right.
I'm gonna rob a bank.
Let's hope that's not the,
you know, but like
case.
I think that at least I believe, because I don't think it's something that I can quantify or you know, like I can't pull up stats and be like, oh yeah, you know,
if you do this,
98% of people are compassionate.
Who did this? Yeah.
You know, like it's like, but I believe that essentially our soul as humans, we are empathetic, we are worth something, and we have a story that needs to be lived.
Yeah. And
sometimes it needs to be acted on stage, sometimes it needs to be in a podcast, and sometimes it's got to be, you know, what it's got to be. It's got to be sung, it's got to be written, it's got, you know, you have to go to the distance of your life and not be worried about
the distance of your life. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you just gotta do that.
Do that. And also going on that, like feeling connected, I feel like the disconnect happens when you don't feel like you have power over change. Or if that's like something that you're striving for, to change someone, to help someone, and you feel like you're so little and you're looking at the people at the top and you're like, there's no way I'm going to get there. Just knowing that you're already above so many other people. You already have so much privilege if you do. And what will you do with that privilege? And how will you make the world better with already what you have? The roof over your head, the pen, the paper. Like, it starts with the little things.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So I have 2 fun final questions.
Nice.
And I love them so much because I love the responses so far that people have been giving. What would you pick as your superpower? If you could have any superpower in the world.
Oh. Now you're talking to the nerd in me, though.
Go,
now,
this is good.
Oh, no.
Yes, I want to hear.
Well, I have to share a story.
Go.
Can I share a story?
Of course.
'Cause all I've ever wanted to be was a superhero as a kid, you know?
Like most of us.
And I know it's going to happen, and I'm going to be a superhero in a movie.
Dude, do you know how many times?
Sure.
Do you know how many times I sit down trying to move things with my mind?
Oh, yes.
Like on the daily.
The waves are
like I'm like, it's going to happen, it's going to happen,
I know.
it's going to happen.
I know.
I'm not joking. I'm not crazy either.
No. That's very normal, actually, I think.
Maybe for us.
But so yeah, I wanted to be Spider-Man my whole life.
Okay, coming out of the wrist.
Spider-Man.
The little webs.
Yes. So all I wanted, this was with one of my ex-girlfriends. I asked her, if I had a superpower, what would it be, right? And she, I was like, please say Spider-Man. In my head, I was like, please say Spider-Man, because like,
then it'll come true.
That's it, right? Because she knows me. But then she said, passionate man. Like, I'm so passionate. And like, that is my superpower, is like, I have a lot of passion. And so she was like, oh, like, I just thought you'd be passionate, man.
That's cute.
And if anything, I was very touched by that. Now that thinking back at it, I'm like, wow, yeah, like, that would probably be my superpower.
And what does that mean? What does that entail? Like, what kind of powers?
I would be able to awake the passion in everyone. Like, that's the thing. You were saying people are disconnected. And, like, that would actually be a useful power. Awake a passion in someone.
Make this world woke.
Yeah. Because if you awake something that's, like, a passion, like, changes the world. It makes that thing.
Yeah.
It helps others, you know. It really moves things forward.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, it's kind of
silly,
cool. But that
passionate
man would be my
I'm
thing.
like trying to picture like a costume.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like metallic purple with like a diamond aqua on your chest. P-Man.
It's funny actually.
Big P.
It's funny actually because I'm writing a screenplay about a totally different other superhero, but like a Cone Man.
Man.
Montreal superhero.
Superhero.
So that's what I'm trying to be is eventually is the Cone.
I like Passionate Man.
But yeah, Passionate Man's pretty good.
That
I
is
like the
cool.
costume idea actually. You need to design it.
I
That's
will.
pretty good.
I will. With a cape. And the cape will be aqua blue as well.
Definitely. So fabulous.
Okay, the last question I have for you. Mm-hmm. What do you think the purpose of life is? I love people's reactions. Just like so nonchalant.
The purpose of life is to be lived. That's it. I think it's as simple as that. It's whatever. It's to live it, not just survive it.
Well, what does that mean? Isn't it the same thing, to survive and to live?
No. You can survive your whole life and not have lived once.
How do you define living?
Living is when you're connected to your inner self, your outer self, and others. You know, you're really connected to everything. So I think finding that in your life is living.
What is the purpose of living?
Living.
But why?
It's as simple as that. There's no...
So when we're done, and we've done our time?
I think so.
No afterlife, no like rewards for having done good?
I don't know. I think it's up to... I think that's a different chapter. That's a different story.
So there is another chapter.
I think so, because life doesn't end when someone dies. Life doesn't end when our dog dies. Life doesn't end when our cat dies. Life doesn't die when, our favorite singer or actor dies.
So you're talking about life on a macro lens, not like a personal life.
I think all of our lives are on a macro scale.
Really?
I don't think, it's like, I think time is an illusion too.
I don't know. I think it's pretty measurable.
Well,
it's one of the things
it is measurable if you measure it with science.
Yeah.
But if you measure it with spirituality, it's not.
How do you measure time with spirituality?
It doesn't.
You just sit in it.
It just time is.
Well, then you think about your physiological clock and when you have to go to bed and when you have to wake up.
For sure, but time keeps going on, right? And so the spirit isn't bound by time. It's not bound by the physiological. It's not bound by science.
So spirit keeps living.
Science is also it's a religion too. We believe in science and its facts.
But it is. It's facts.
But what's a fact?
Well, a fact is in our physical light bulb. This is science, and it exists. Just like it has life.
How do you know it exists? How do you know we're not in a simulation? How do you know this is not this? How do you know this is not heaven or that this is not hell? How do you know that this is not afterlife? How you know? We don't know anything.
Yeah, because we don't remember what came before. Because we could have been someone else or a rock.
Yeah, but maybe this is it. But I think
maybe this is our last chance.
Maybe this is it. Yeah.
This is our 7th life out of our 7 lives.
Or maybe this is the first and this is the last. And that
so it's just to live it, just to live.
Yeah.
No higher purpose, no striving, just to live it.
No, because I think there are too many things in life that happen to others, or not to others, but to everyone, that are like so random. Like a friend passing away all of a sudden, or a car crash,
yeah.
Or someone get like
aneurysm.
Dying from an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Boom, they're dead. And it's like,
what the fuck?
Why did that happen? Right?
Yeah. The unexplainable.
And I think that's just life manifesting itself. It's going, blah, blah.
It's just killing people off.
But it's not.
That's his video game self coming out like, boo, 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 boo.
Yeah, but no, I think it's just.
It's just to be lived.
It's just that. It's as simple as that. I think, there isn't. It's complex and simple, because what I'm saying is sounds simple, but it's not.
I know. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's leave them with that thought.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laurent.
Keep on living.
Oh, keep on living.
Oh, you almost did that. Yes!
Peace.
Yeah.
You.